Okay, welcome back, guys. I'm happy to have you back again, and this is going to be like the part two to the previous discussion we've had based on your unfiltered experience, the reality about uh the experience you've had so far, so good living abroad, and going back to where we stopped, in our first podcast, I was asking about your experience, but most especially practically, and Mr. Oti was talking about the getting the job, how easy it was, and all that. So now I would want to take us back because I know, during that period, I think I was part of the story. I understood everything that happened, and I know Madam was heavily pregnant around that time. So, can you share, a bit of experience how you were able to manage this, traveling abroad, heavily pregnant, landing in a new country, COVID-19, quarantine, settling down with all of this challenge. Can you please, just take us through this experience a bit?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said earlier about the guy that really, really made us started the UK process. So it was really not in our plan. So
Yeah.
before we started the whole process, before I got admission, I had already gotten pregnant. So the pregnancy was already there. Maybe if I was not pregnant, the process was we started. Maybe we would have decided to like, oh, maybe we should wait a little bit and all. But it has already happened. So I was pregnant by the time we came in here. I was 8 months pregnant of twins. So it was the day we clocked a month here in the UK that I gave birth. So yes, it was not easy. So that was what made it being pregnant in a country where we are just coming in. You're not going to have any help. You don't have family members. You don't have anybody. Definitely was going to be a challenge, and it was a challenge. Apart from that, when we came in, before we came in, we paid for an accommodation. The process or the standard then was to get like a shared apartment. Usually, when you are coming in, then when you come in, you will look for a better accommodation because it was not easy to get a full accommodation from Nigeria because of references, payment, and all those things. So what we used to do was to get a shared apartment, come in, then start looking for an accommodation, which was very big. So we came in, we got a shared apartment, we were living there with this man. He rented a room to us. I gave birth. But as soon as we gave birth, coming back from the hospital, he told us to leave, that we are now four and the room will not cannot take us. And he was and we're like, we're just coming, like this is like the day we came from the hospital. As soon as we went to our room, we called my husband and we have to leave. That we are now four and the room will not take us. What do we do? Even before then, we started looking for accommodation, but we haven't gotten. We've gone for a lot of viewings, but none was forthcoming, which he was even aware of. He even sent us links to apply. We've been applying. We've been going for. We've been giving him feedback. So we released. So he made us. It wasn't a good one for us at all. But with the help of God and with our very religious friends, members, were able to secure another accommodation. Somebody took us in until we were able to get our own accommodation finally. So it was a tough journey, Scotting with someone with babies. It was a good one. We enjoyed our association with where we were staying. At least we appreciated the fact that they helped us, but at that you still want to have your own space, your own things
Yes.
and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was challenging. Then, apart from that, childcare, taking care of the children, it wasn't easy at all because they were babies. I was battling with my own self after birth, health wise. I wasn't strong, and I still have to care for the babies. He still needs to also go to work because we need the money to pay rent, because we need the money for our living, our daily living, and also he was still working I was also studying then. I reached out to school and they managed to give me 2 weeks. They managed to give me 2 weeks also. After 2 weeks, I started attending lectures. So whenever I go to lectures during the day, so he had to do just night shift so that during the day he can stay with the children while I go to school. Then when I come back, he sleeps before going to work at night. So that was how we would manage that phase. We were always looking tired. It was so stressful. We were always looking very tired, but at the same time, we needed to be strong ourselves, not just ourselves, even the babies, because we need to make sure they are well taken care of.
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah, that was it. So what else do
Yeah.
you have to say?
I think this is like the first time I'll be thinking about our journey in a chronological order from when we started.
Mm,
It was also a very rough one before we left Nigeria because of her situation being pregnant. We knew the hurdle we had to pass through in the airport.
mm,
Someone came up with this health certificate of a teen that she's not going to let her fly because of she's pregnant. She may not get a health clearance. And before this time, even the airline have asked plenty of questions, documents we needed. So from when we were ready to leave the country, we started going from one hospital, getting this document and the rest. Till we got to the airport. And that's when the woman said no, she's not going to let us board the flight because she's pregnant. She requested for us to pay for the health certificate, which when I peeped into the document, it was 500 naira. But the woman insisted on collecting 10,000 naira. So that's really was not a nice way to leave your country of origin.
Yeah.
But it's like somebody is telling you that, making you feel like you don't want to be a member of your country. Then also before also we boarded the flight, somebody came up and said, no, we need to do COVID tests, which we've done. And we got the list of that center from the Nigerian Ministry of Health website. That center where we did our test is an accredited one. But
Yeah.
getting to the airport, a staff there saying that no, that the airport have their own accredited centers where you do it. So we had to pay an extra, I think about 50,000 or so again.
Wow. Wow.
So it's
Wow.
like leaving your country is like you have to sneak out. So you have to bribe
Yeah.
your way out of your own country. So
Yeah.
that created some nice impression, which sometimes when I meet people here, friends here who say they are not ready to go back to their country, not minding how hard the situation may be, I won't be quick to blame them. But also coming inward to UK here, the child the childbirth process was positive and negative as well. Positive in terms of that gave us the first glimpse of what UK healthcare looked like, the standard, the professionalism. So it was quite impressive. I remember while in the hospital for some days when my dad called, he was asking, are we still in the hospital? How are we going to foot the bill? How are we going to pay? So it was quite surprising to them that our IHS fee covered all those things. And it was also
Mm.
surprising to me myself that we'll stay all this while. Even with providing or feeding, you'll be fed morning, afternoon, and night. I remember one interesting thing that happened to me was when she got to the hospital the first day. So it was almost 11 at night, and one of the nurses asked me that, "Am I not going home?" I didn't want to tell her straight I would stay because we know back home, what do you
You
want? The
stay.
woman will drive you away, the nurses will drive the husband away, go home.
Yeah.
Uh, I was just being dodgy. I was like, I will go, but not time, not yet. And she said, okay, she left. And surprisingly, the door opened. She went and bring something like a mobile bed for me with a
Wow.
mattress and pillow. I was really surprised.
Wow.
I want to sleep here. This is mine. So that positive side was more like you're welcome to this
And
country.
it makes you feel at home. Yeah.
Made me feel at home. But thinking back, our accommodation problem was quite depressing. The funny enough, the person who accommodated us, who we paid to, is a fellow Nigerian. So that Nigerian treatment we got back before we left, we still came here to face it. This was somebody who he goes out, see any house to let, he snap the address, the phone number, give to me, I should call, he follow up. And surprisingly, the day we came back, he asked us to pack, to leave the house. Even with the rent advance that we've given to him, the rest, it was that's a whole lot. So and
Mm.
that where I would say belonging to an association, be it religious group, be it any kind of
Yeah.
international
The,
association, is
the
high,
community, yeah.
the community is highly recommended. We are Jehovah's Witness, so that association, that union was one that came to our rescue, which I think it's one that's an experience that I really value. When we reach out to them explaining this is our situation, and they told me straight, we know that place is not conducive for you. Before this time, they already informed us that if you are looking for a guarantor for an accommodation, we have persons who are ready to do it, which our friends who also came within that time were struggling to get. We had that. So many of them in our pocket that if we want a guarantor. Some were willing to take us in, but we are of the opinion that we don't want to continue to move. If I move to your house, when I get my own house, I'll move again. Why not we just stay here and look for a house and
Move
know
at
where we
once.
are?
Yeah.
And so that was why we even had to stay there. And that whole situation also gave us another glimpse of what the UK system looked like. Because when we told this person who we're living with that we're going to move when we get a place, and some of our friends wanted to get the police involved. So that was when even the man himself got to know that if police were to be involved because of the children, he would be the one that would leave the house.
Mhm.
So because priority will be given to the children, you can't throw those children into the street. So
Yeah.
that was when he got to understand that he has put himself in a very difficult situation because
Mm.
the contract he signed to get the house stated he should not sublet, which he has violated.
Yeah.
So that gave us a glimpse of so this is how this country runs and what we understand his fears. His fear is that the house is not suitable for such kind of children.
Yeah.
But he's trying to play a smart one, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, it made him become very unreasonable. Nobody was on his back at that
Yeah.
time. He
Yeah.
was just trying to push us out quickly. Maybe he became greedy to rent out the house to somebody else again. So that's been that. Children came. It was now also another hurdle itself.
Challenge.
Work nights, come home, spend time with children. When she comes back, I remember one sad. It's not really an event, but an experience per se. I was going to work before she came back home. She had certain things to do in school that kept her till almost 6, and I usually leave home by 6. So the family that we're staying with, I asked them if they can look after the children. They agreed. The mom was at home. She agreed, and I left. So I was in the bus going to work when Buki called me and she was crying. I was like, "What's the problem?" This was like a week or not really a week, like few weeks, not up to a month after she gave birth. She
Mhm.
said she's just so tired that she can't walk. That it looked like she's still bleeding. She can't walk. She's so tired. I felt so bad and I began to ask myself, why did I put my family into this situation? Why not we just stay back and family members help us? She gave birth before we begin to think of things. But that's what it is. And it was. I don't remember those period of time with smile on my face with my face. But we've gone past that stage. It's those experience that I would say has given us the we like to the proper mindset on how to
Yeah.
move
To be
on,
stronger.
how to be strong. They say what cannot kill you is to make you strong. But
Exactly.
sometimes you well anyway we are alive. We are alive
Yeah.
to see the outcome of it all. Yeah.
That's nice. It's a kind of, everything in life will not, always go the way you want it, actually. But most especially what I do tell people is that moving to a new country, it's going to be challenging initially. And I can feel for you because your own case is even a kind of a totally different, story. And not just having a child, you were having two, so that is, a kind of complicating situation. But thankfully you are able to, like, weather through the storm, and here you are bouncing and strong, in everything. So now